And we are not expert in what white, wealthy, and male property owners thought about firearm regulation in 1791. This is a sitting judge. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, what we're going to discuss tonight is the newest idea on the left on how to attack the Bruen decision. You know, that one decision which stacks on that other decision that is ruining the gun controllers' lives. Well, there's a new approach of attack. This is an interesting one coming from Slate magazine. This is as far left as you're going to go, so this is coming right from the source of the lefties themselves. This is citing and written an entire article on a federal judge in Mississippi and how he went after the Bruen decision. Wait till I show you what he actually said, and they're basing this entire article off of, because you know as well as I do, if they can't find a point that's actually rooted in cause and legal authority, they're going to start calling names, and this is worth a read. It is linked in the description box below. I'm going to say a quick word from our sponsor, Kamikoto Knives, and then we're going to dive into their newest line of attack against the Bruen decision and your gun rights. Now, the sponsor for this episode of Freedom is Kamikoto Knives. Now, of course, knives are a little outside of our realm, but every single 2A advocate needs to fuel their body, and to do that, you need the right tool in the kitchen, which is why I want to show you guys these things. These Kamikoto knives are legit. Right out of the box, check out not only the exquisite design and the nature, but look at the balance on that knife. I got a few things to tell you about them. I can't wait to hear what you guys think, and we're going to hit it in 1 second. The knives are made with a high-quality Japanese steel using traditional techniques. Each knife is individually inspected and comes with a lifetime guarantee. The knives come in a heavy-duty ash wood box, which makes them a great present. The knives are used by Michelin star chefs all over the world, so why shouldn't they fuel your freedom in your kitchen? Now, Kamikoto has several special offers going on right now and is offering my viewers an extra $50 off on any purchase with the discount code Langley. On top of their special offers, go to kamikoto.com/Langley to get your knife set and help support our channel. All right, brothers and sisters, buckle up, because I said in the intro, this seems to be the newest line of attack. I've seen this referenced a few times in a bunch of the videos that we've done, kind of articulating, kind of poking the surface of what's going on with the Bruen decision. Listen to this. All right, let's dive in. Again, it's linked if you want a crazy read. A federal judge calls Clarence Thomas's bluff on gun rights and originalism. Oh. Going right after the throat here, huh? Okay, this came out today. Now, keep in mind, the Bruen decision was based in historical text and tradition. That's the reason gun control has been falling apart at a dizzying pace, is because it's a new, modern interpretation of rights and control. It's not based off of the original intent of the document. That's the originalism piece. Let's keep going. Federal judges are not historians, but they are increasingly obligated to play them on the bench. In his Bruen decision last June, Justice Clarence Thomas ordered courts to assess the constitutionality of modern-day gun restrictions by searching for historical analogs from 1791, when the Second Amendment was ratified. Ever since, judges have struggled mightily with this task, in part because most have no training in real historical analysis, but also because the record is often spotty and contradictory. That's because gun control is not the norm, it is a new invention. Also, it's not a judge's responsibility to be a historian. The point is for both parties to bring forward their case utilizing historical precedent and fact, and the judge makes a decision. They are a judge, not a historian. So on its face, this article is kind of silly because you're asking a judge to be a historian in your viewpoint, not a judge. Let's continue, because this is the kind of stuff that they're going after, and this is grasping at straws. In each case, both sides presented a few scraps of historical evidence to support their positions, talking about a couple of decisions they didn't like. Judges based their decisions on those scraps without further research, following Thomas's suggestion that they rely on the historical record compiled by the parties. So Thomas even went into this how he was going to do it. But that's not the main point here. I want to show you what they're arguing. Their main focal point here is the historian piece. Last Thursday, Judge Carlton Reeves of the Southern District of Mississippi charted a different course. He proposed appointing a historian to help him, quote, identify and sift through authoritative sources on founding-era firearms restrictions to decide the constitutionality of a federal law barring felons from possessing firearms. So essentially what's happening here, and this is what the author of this article is saying, we need historians that are inside the court to interpret what was actually there at the ratification of 1791 when the Second Amendment was ratified. We can't have judges making the decision without historical input from historians. This is where you want to go? You want to go down the road of, well, the judge is making the decision based off of historical record, but they don't truly know everything historical, so we need an academic inside the courtroom. What? It gets crazier. Let's keep on going. His proposal is the first positive development in Second Amendment law since the Bruen Revolution. I disagree. I think the whole Bruen thing was the best thing ever. But whatever, I'm going to keep on. At worst, it will demonstrate the absurdity and impossibility of Thomas's command. At best, it will restore sanity to an area of jurisprudence that is going completely off the rails. They've done 2 gun cases in the Supreme Court since 2008. Going off the rails? Anyway, besides that whole point, that whole chestnut, what they're saying here is this is going to bring, what was the exact word? The absurdity and impossibility. At best, it will restore sanity to an area of jurisprudence. Restore sanity according to whom? Because that's a subjective nature. This author from Slate, they're saying that their standard is obviously the one that makes sense. Their standard is obviously the easiest solution, and therefore anyone that disagrees with them, Supreme Court justices, judges, anyone, they are all clearly inferior. Their opinion is the best. Because they're using a subjective base for an argument here, all the while not relying on the court opinion for the judges. And I wonder if you go of the exact same approach with any other rights the left cares a little bit more about. Should we have actual medical doctors of every single abortion case? Should that be a thing? No, that would be an infringement, right? No, that would be putting the government between the woman and her doctor, correct? That's what the argument would be. That's my whole point. This entire thing is a contradiction. But let's keep going. This isn't about that. The justices of the Supreme Court, distinguished as they may be, are not trained historians, he wrote. Federal judges lack both the methodological and substantive knowledge that historians possess. The sifting of evidence that judges perform is different than the sifting of sources and methodologies that historians perform. Judges and historians are different. No kidding. And we are not expert in what white, wealthy, and male property owners thought about firearm regulation in 1791. This is a sitting judge. Putting oneself in the mindset of rich white men in the 18th century, requiring training and practice. Yet, we are now expected to play historian in the name of constitutional adjudication. Yeah, you're expected to play a judge in a constitutional adjudication because you're a judge. This is the judge writing this, sitting judge. Why you got to throw all the other periphery in there when you don't have a point, I'll never understand. It's about control and, honestly, managing emotions rather than fact. But what? That doesn't even make sense. What does that have to do with the Bruen decision? Nothing, because they're trying to throw whatever they can in there to stir the pot because they are getting beaten. There we go. All right, here's the last thing. He started with the false premise that the Second Amendment created an individual right to bear arms, a right that the court established for the first time in 2008's District of Columbia v. Heller. Okay, well, let's just camp out on that for a second. The reason that it was never confirmed before that was because there was not a Supreme Court case that was brought before the Supreme Court and chosen to test out that theory of gun control from Washington, D.C. Because right around that time, that was when they started doing this whole, well, yeah, we can't infringe, but that doesn't mean you can't have a gun with X amount of this and X amount of that and this area and that area. That's when it all started. But let's continue. Again, that was 2008. Which scholars have comprehensively debunked using originalist tools. Debunked, huh? Okay. He then manipulated or ignored long-established limits on concealed carry to conclude that such restrictions are not rooted in American history. Now, he's talking about Thomas for the Bruen decision. So the entire premise of this article, if I'm going to boil this little beauty down, is to say that judges aren't historians, and historians should be more involved in judges. And if it's going to be based on a historical context, then we need a qualified and authoritative historian to truly advise the judge on what gun control is authoritative and not authoritative. I wonder who makes that decision. And that's the whole point. Their latest line of attack is now attacking the historical reference and precedent. The whole point here is they don't have anything to go off of, so they're trying to make it up. Hence, the inclusion of all that whole rich white property owner white guy talk. They've got nothing. And that's their newest line of attack, is the historian angle. Let me know what you guys think in the comments field below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.